Good Thursday morning. I want to do a brief follow-up on the sermon from last Sunday. On Tuesday, we had a short video about making your prayer more sincere. Just a fun video that challenges us to be really in touch with the depth that our prayer can bring into our spiritual walk. But you may remember from the sermon on Sunday that it concerned giving, almsgiving. You remember the people that would throw their money into the big metal trumpets to make the noise so others could see them give. It concerned people who prayed so that others could see and hear them pray and draw attention to themselves. And lastly, concerning fasting, about people who made themselves look dismal when they fasted. So they were making a big appearance about fasting. So I started thinking about that. All three of these are ways that people will often look at Christians and call us hypocrites. And I've always had kind of a response, just a canned response of, yes, we're a gathering of hypocrites. We are hypocrites. And then I started thinking, what exactly is a hypocrite? So I looked up the definition in Merriam-Webster, and this is it. There are two definitions. A person who puts on false appearances of virtue or religion. That's number one. Number two, a person who acts in contradiction to his or her stated beliefs or feelings. We are hypocrites, aren't we? And what Jesus is talking about in that passage, where he's talking about doing things so others can see you do them, it's very superficial and it's showy religion, but it also it doesn't just make other people say that we're hypocrites, it makes us miss the mark. Somebody has said once that sin is missing the mark. In the Greek, you can actually translate that like an arrow going toward the bullseye in the middle. Sin is when you miss the mark. Some people will define sin in that way, and that's certainly one good definition of it. One of the ways we miss the mark is when we don't realize the depth and the height and the power that God offers us in these things that Jesus is talking about. Giving, praying, and fasting are three spiritual disciplines that can offer us far more than we can ask or imagine. But for most of us, we tend to think that we should do what's required of us of those. So we give what we should give. Now, even people sometimes who tithe do it because they feel like they have to. But I know people, my parents were two of these, who give far beyond the tithe because they found a freedom in giving that made them feel closer to God and to others, unlike anything else they could do. Prayer is the same way. You saw the video on Tuesday. If you didn't, go back and look at that one. It talks about how oftentimes we pray just as a superficial or an obligatory thing. We say prayers in churches. How many of us actually pray once a day? How many pray several times a day? And if we do, like the video implied, how many of us really pray from the depths of our hearts? That forms an intimate relationship with God like nothing else. And fasting is the practice of giving up something. Most often is thought of as giving up food for a period of time. I've fasted. I know some people fasting even in these days. Fasting is something that you might do, like I'll skip a meal, or a lot of us would say I fast between every meal and snack. But fasting is something that if we take it seriously, don't just do what we think we're obligated to do, but use it as a tool. Maybe stop eating until we really feel strongly that it's okay for us to eat again. Boy, that could take days or weeks. And there are ways we can talk through how you do that, but so many times fasting is just skipping a meal and thinking that doing that somehow changes us. What changes us is when it comes from the depths of our hearts. Then we're not hypocrites. We don't put on false appearances so people can see what we're doing to make us look religious. That's dangerous. And we certainly back up our words with our actions. Don't miss the depth that God has to offer you and me today when we give to God, to others, when we pray from the depths of our hearts, and when we give something up so that we can feel a challenge in our soul and draw even closer in our reliance on God for our strength. Have a blessed day today, and hashtag be a blessing.